Welcome everyone to Fans Talk TNA, which has been brought to you by TNAMecca.com and the Fans Talk Wrestling Podcast. This is episode number 2. It was recorded on November 4th, 2014. Fans Talk TNA is a short conversation about what happens this week in TNA as well as what we can look forward to, and you can get it exclusively on TNAMecca.com. My name is Garvin, and I'm joined tonight by Nick. Say hello, Nick.
Howdy, guys.
And this week we are joined by good friend Joe. Say hello, Joe.
Hey, guys. Hi.
While we've already got tonight's episode mapped out, you can reach out to us on TNAMecca.com as well as in the comments on our YouTube channel about things you'd like us to discuss in the next edition. So let's get right into the conversation. So we still don't have a TV deal or any real concrete idea of what will take place for TNA in December and January. But what we do know is we've got a new world champion. Bobby Roode took the title last week off of Bobby Lashley. So before we talk about Roode as champion, let's talk about Lashley. Do you guys think that his reign was a success? Did you like him as champion, Nick?
I enjoyed it. I think he had a solid reign. He never looked bad as champion. And the fact that he was being World Heavyweight Champion and conducting a successful career in Bellator at the same time, it just makes me a little more impressed with the man. So it wasn't anything spectacular in terms of storyline. He did kind of fall into it as a result of MVP's injury, but he definitely picked up the ball and ran with it very well.
Bobby Lashley has been a seasoned champion. He's held titles before, and I think he did a very good job as Bobby Lashley TNA champion. Like you said, Nick, you got thrown into it a little bit because of the MVP injury. We don't really know what the storyline was going to be there. But I think he held his own, especially with the Bellator thing. And, yeah, I did enjoy Bobby Lashley as a champion. Maybe a little more mic work could have been used, but Bobby as a muscle is fantastic.
Yeah, I'm totally with you guys. Like, overall, we don't know the scenario. It really seemed like they had MVP. He was injured. That seemed to be the direction they were going. But since he got hurt, they put the title on Lashley, and he was kind of thrown into it, but really excelled. Overall, he looked like a legit champion, which is something. It was something we really needed. We needed a guy who was legit. They really, helped push that idea of, him as an MMA guy. He was doing well in Bellator, so to have him be that unstoppable monster in the ring, I thought was really cool. So overall, probably one of my favorite champions this year over the last 2 years for sure. So, but that's basically Bobby Lashley as champion. Roode is the champion we wanted, and we will most likely have him champion for the rest of the year. So, moving forward though, 2015, who do you want to be his first defense against?
I don't know about first defense, but I'm really excited about the idea of Storm stepping up to challenge him, which is where this Revolution angle seems to be going at some point. They never resolved their feud last time around after Roode screwed Storm, and I could definitely see that being a major motivating factor for Storm stepping up, turning people to his agenda, and using them to further his own aims. I think that would be an amazing storyline.
I mean, who do you go with? I mean, Storm is a possibility. I'm just trying to think. I would like to see Samoa Joe get in there, but then that doesn't fit if it's Roode. I'm just trying to cycle through all the guys in my head without having to take the time to go to the roster page. MVP, EC3. Both guys that I could see something happening with. Um, you know what? Kenny King. I wouldn't mind a shot for Kenny King. Get him doing something. He's just kind of languishing right now, and I want to see him do a little more.
First, I apologize if I get any names that I mention from the comments wrong. Bear with me. But George Lazada, he commented last week that he wanted to see EC3 in there. Stephen Wells commented that he could definitely see James Storm, especially because of what they've been doing with Revolution. And this is something we talked about last week, Nick and I, about the idea of them really forming Revolution to back James Storm for this type of match, especially after what we saw this week between James Storm and Davey Richards, talking about how his teammate held him back, specifically talking about Bobby Roode. So there's definitely seeds there. Lewis Harrison brought up the idea of maybe Angle helping Roode this week win, so that he could fight him for the title. We know the history between Angle and Roode. That could definitely fit depending on where Angle ends up, if he re-signs with the company or not in 2015. Big Dog 91 said in the comments that he wanted that he really liked the idea of maybe Tyrus getting a shot very soon. What do you guys think about that? Do you any of these names that's been brought up by in the comments between EC3, James Storm, Kurt Angle, Tyrus? Do you guys see any of those getting a top title shot early on in 2015?
Well, I gave my thoughts on EC3 last time around, so I won't dwell on that. Angle, it'd be an interesting match, but we've already been inundated with the champ or the top guy being screwed over by the authority figure, and no matter what the history between the two, Angle setting Roode up to win just so he can challenge him later seems to be more of that, and I think that would be the dominant tone of that. As far as Tyrus goes, again, that is another interesting matchup. But the fact that he's EC3's bodyguard, that does seem to kind of preclude that from happening, at least until a split occurs. And I don't know that I want those two to be split up anytime soon. The one that I think has the most promise behind it, the best likelihood of happening outside of Storm would be who you mentioned earlier, Joe, MVP. I could see Lashley stepping away for whatever reason in storyline, but going on to focus on Bellator some more, and MVP stepping up to take advantage of the title shot that he never got. So I could definitely see that happening.
For me, I would love to. I like the idea of Tyrus coming in and maybe getting a shot, even if it's brief. Get him in to be that destroyer, and just have him run right up the card. I think it would be something different for TNA, and then you have some of that friction between him and EC3, or just EC3 holding him on a leash, like, here's my bleeping champion, come get some.
Yeah, I definitely like all of these names, and some names that have been talked to us about on with our friends on FTWLive.com. Obviously, a lot of interest in seeing EC3 being pushed up there. MVP obviously has the storyline connection. Even names like Davey Richards being pushed up there, depending on what happens with this story with James Storm. So yeah, definitely a lot of opportunities, and it definitely has me excited going into the new year. In an upcoming edition of Fans Talk TNA, and this is all based on suggestions from you guys. This week it was SM1202, Lewis Harris, and Ben Hopkins, who all asked us to talk about British Boot Camp 2. That is something that we don't get, being that we're from the U.S., but we do have access to it, so we're going to be catching up onto it, and hopefully we're hopefully going to talk about it on an upcoming edition. So definitely check that out, and Again, TNAMecca.com. Leave your comments. Let us know what you want us to talk about, and we'll talk about that. This week on Impact, we're going to see Samoa Joe and Low Ki face the Hardys in the finals. The winning team will earn a title shot against the Wolves. Havoc will defend the Knockouts Championship against Gail Kim. Bram and Magnus versus Tommy Dreamer and Devon in a hardcore rules match. And plus, we're going to finally hear from Bobby Roode. He's going to speak for the first time as your World Heavyweight Champion. Bobby Lashley will be in attendance. So, overall, real quick, real brief, what are you most looking forward to this week in TNA?
I think I'm looking forward most to the Hardcore Rules match. Just for the fact that I really want to see Bram and Magnus be a team, a legitimate tag team, like in that division, challenging for that title. And I think this sort of feud will help put them closer together, quell any of the differences they have between them, and bring Magnus more into his own dark side. I think this will be a really effective tool towards doing that. So I hope that's what happens here.
I would like to see. I think that same match is what's intriguing me. Only to see Tommy Dreamer get his face kicked in, because he always seems to get the crap kicked out of him in a Hardcore Rules match.
Plays that role very well.
He does. It's his signature, man. And he does a good job at it. I'm not trying to knock the guy, but it's what happens. He'll probably end up hitting some tacks and then flop like a fish all over the place. He's good at it.
Oh yeah, that was how he was built.
Yeah, for me, I'm really looking forward to what's going on with the tag team tournament. I think either way, whoever wins this match, their match against the Wolves is going to be fantastic. So, and like you guys said, with the Bram and Magnus hardcore match, it's really good to see them push forward with this new attitude with both Bram and Magnus. We've seen hints of it. Obviously, Bram has done a lot better job with it than Magnus, but hopefully we get a real good viewpoint of what Magnus can do in this type of situation. So, yeah, definitely a lot of cool stuff to look forward to. But that's all the time we've got for this conversation. For more TNA talk by us, you can listen to FTW 239, available on ftwpodcast.com right now. In that conversation, we talk about the tag team tournament a little bit more in depth, what the future holds for the Wolves and Revolution, as well as where MVP, Kenny King, and Lashley go from here. And you can also get your TNA talk fill here at tnamecca.com. So definitely thanks everyone for your support after the first episode. It was great to hear all the comments, all your feedback, really stellar. So once again, this is Fans Talk TNA. Has been brought to you by tnamecca.com and ftwpodcast.com. For Nick, Joe, I am Garvin saying goodbye. We'll see you again first thing next Wednesday here at tnamecca.com. Enjoy tonight's Impact.